What up, everyone? Thank you for coming back to my channel. As usual, I do appreciate it. So, I want to talk about the prostitution stings that take place in Central Florida, Polk County to be specific, where Sheriff Grady Judd runs the show. Polk County, Sheriff Grady Judd, Central Florida. Listen, if you're not familiar with Sheriff Grady Judd, you can Google him. He's pretty popular, especially down here in Florida. But on social media in general, I've seen other people talk about him. If you are caught up, and it's specifically the Johns, usually 9 out of 10, the Johns are the ones that get blasted. If you are caught in one of these social media, if you are caught in one of these prostitution stings, your face, your occupation, and the conversation that you're having with these officers is going to be blasted, put on social media for everyone to see. Now, what I want to do is let him talk in this interview, give you a bit of an example of what I'm talking about, and then I want to come back with a little bit of commentary about the whole thing.
228 arrests, 66 prostitutes, 50 Johns, and 12 others. This time we identified 13 potential victims of human trafficking. 42 of the 228 that we arrested were from Polk County. Now, those of you from Polk County know better. We talk about this, we don't hide it, and if you don't know about it, you obviously live under a rock. So you had to learn the hard way. But for the rest of you, pay attention, because this is not the last operation. We'll have more. And we'll give you the opportunity to be arrested if you're stupid enough to show up. That's a guarantee. In addition to that, 42 of these folks were married. And I've got some quotes from wives that I'll give you in a little bit. One wife sent the detective a message the next day. She said, "Good one, guys. Thank you for helping me in my marriage. Keep doing what you're doing." One John said he worked overtime today and he just needed to blow off some steam. Well, we gave him a chance to also cool his heels in the county jail. Another one said, "Well, I came here because, I'm going to be incapacitated for 10 days. I got to turn myself in Monday at the county jail for 10 days. The judge sentenced me to previously." Wait, you don't have to turn yourself in. We're going to give you a ride and some additional criminal charges to go through it. One John who was married said, "Well, sometimes you just need to see something different." Well, he did. He saw a different woman, but she was undercover. Then he got to see the jail. I would hate to see what it's like at his house when his wife, who's obviously going to watch this, finds out that he just needed to see something different. And then there was a John that was married for 26 years. He said his wife was at the Hard Rock Casino. And he was at, y'all thought I was going to say something, but I'm not. But it didn't turn out to be the Hard Rock Casino. It did turn out to be the Rock, known as Grady Town, or the county jail. One John was married. He said he came here to play golf. Well, I got to tell you, I've heard it called a lot of stuff, but never playing golf. And there was no hole in one. One John said he left his wife and 5 children at home. One prostitute said she'd only been here 2 days. She was here from New York to make money. And instead she came to New York on vacation, and she's going to leave here on probation. But let's talk about specific people real quickly as I go through this. First we'll start with our athletes. This is Edwin Madrino. He's 54. He's from New York City, New York. He's self-employed, according to him, as a volleyball tutor. He used to be a coach at Monroe Junior College in New York. We don't know if he's still a coach or not. He said he tutors children as young as middle school. He came for sex with a lady. He wanted to pay $150. Oh, by the way, in January of this year, he was arrested in Hillsborough County for what? The same thing. He's married, but his wife's proud of him. 2 arrests in 2 counties in Central Florida. I don't know if this gets to New York City or not, but we'll put it on social media and she'll have all options. Benjamin Johnson, he's from Plant City. He's a golf pro. He's also an athlete at Eaglebrook in Lakeland. That's right. He's PGA specialized teacher and coach. And he came for sex with a female, $150. He has a criminal history of cannabis and dealing in stolen property. So he can teach you to play golf, or he can teach you how to deal in stolen property or how to get caught at dealing in stolen property. Then there's Wilman Santa Cruz, not to be confused with Santa Claus. He's 50. He says he's a triathlon coach, a certified triathlon coach, and he's a triathlon athlete. You know what's strange about this? The dude showed up with meth. I mean, does that help you perform better when you're a triathlon athlete? Or do triathlon athletes, who you would think would be the kind of people who took care of their body, was using meth and seeking out the interest of a lady of the evening? Then there's Sergio Collins. He currently is a progressive insurance claim adjuster, but he's married. I bet his wife's not happy. And he says on his LinkedIn page that he's a middle school football coach at Lakeland Christian School. They said, no way, he is not a coach at Lakeland Christian Schools. So when you're doing your press, don't look him up online and take Sergio at his word. The school says absolutely not. He thought he was going to come have sex. But then, of course, if you're going to have coaches and teachers, you might as well have a straight up teacher. This is Gene Ahume. He's 26 from Auburndale. He's a teacher at New Beginnings High School where he teaches math and science. He came to have sex. He called it a quick visit for $60. Well, since he's able to teach math, he can figure out that it didn't add up when he came to this time. Then Brandy Barnes. She's an IT specialist at Tampa General Hospital. We're going to get to the medical world for a minute. You know, we did the coaches, we did the teachers. She has a criminal history of a meth arrest, and she agreed to provide sex to an undercover for 1 hour. Okay. Then this is Luxon Jean Brinville. He's 38. He's married. He's in the medical field. He's a RN, a registered nurse at Manatee Springs Nursing Home. He wanted to have sex. He has a criminal history of DUI. So you can still work as a RN if you get drunk and drive. I'm interested to see if they're going to do anything to his license for a morals act of trying to have sex. We'll find out. Luis Navarro, he's from Puerto Rico. He's 61. He's a veterinarian. He's retired from the USDA. He came over to have sex, but his veterinarian license is still current. Maybe I can talk the judge into putting him in the county jail, because we always need help with spay and neuters at animal control. This is Traycon Giles. He's from Tampa. We're going to the military now. He's a staff sergeant in the Air Force. He came for sex. And he said, well, he's done this before about 6 months ago. He doesn't learn very fast. I can't believe the Air Force would have a slow learner, but I guess they do. And then there's Jaden Hall. He's 19. He's scheduled to begin his Air Force training in May. And oh my goodness, he had a meltdown. This can't happen to me. This can't happen to me. I'm going into the Air Force. Well, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Who knows? And then there's Brandon Bush. He's active Air Force as well. Air Force was the only branch of the service we caught this, or Air Force wannabes. He's scheduled at McDill. He's an airman first class. He's not only in the military, but he's a military police officer. So since we talked about military and he's a military police officer, let's get to our law enforcement officer, Yaw Kusi. He's 23. He used to be a detention deputy for me. We fired him when he was arrested in Orange County on February the 9th. No, I take that back. He resigned before we got around to firing him. And then we arrested him again on February the 23rd. So on the 9th, he got arrested in Orange County and resigned. On the 23rd, we arrested him again. And he said, hey, is this a felony now that I'm arrested the second time? He didn't pay attention in the police academy because he hasn't been convicted yet. So while we were interviewing him, and we go, like, dude, what are you doing? You went from being a stellar employee to committing morals crimes, and it's 2 in a month. He said, I got a problem. No kidding. You got a big problem. Then there's Alex Everett. He's 34. He says he's on disability. He doesn't work, so that we're paying him to do things like have sex. He called it a quick visit. In his car, we found cocaine, fentanyl, cannabis, a gun. He picked up an armed trafficking and cocaine and fentanyl charge in addition to his misdemeanor soliciting charge. Oh, he's got a criminal history of robbery, fleeing, armed trafficking, and he spent 8.5 years in prison for some of those violent things. He says he's on disability. He's not disabled, folks. He's able to commit crime. And if you're able to commit crime, you ought to be able to go to work. He just doesn't like to work, obviously. And then there's Joseph DeBello. He's 46. He's from Wildwood. He's married. He's a plumber. He also said, let me see if I can find it here. He also said that he's a pagan. He's a member of an outlaw motorcycle group. Now, he said a lot of things, you know. They said he, by the way, he was super nice. He's a relatively new member of the Pagans. And he explained all of this. He was very proud of his outfit. They call it colors. See, we asked him about this, and he said, well, because I have this safety pin here, we thought maybe it was for big underwear or something. He said, when you have it like this, you're sending a message to all the other different motorcycle gangs that you're just passing through and you're peaceful and you don't want any problem. So he had his diaper pin, so he didn't want any problems, but he got problems. But he told our undercover, you see, there's rules about this jacket. The rule is that, well, no one is supposed to touch this jacket. Okay, but the member, you see, no one. Just pull. And you must turn the jacket inside out to hang it up. We chose not to do that too, why we're not touching it. He said that his wife was going to really be mad. And he used other words. Well, we called her, and guess what? He was right. She was really mad. And I bet the Pagans were really mad because, see, he's not been a member but just a few months. And here, now he's disparaged them. And the cops have one of their jackets. And they've been handling it. And, you know, we didn't hang it up backwards or any of the other rules that they have. But, hey, Joseph, I don't know how well you do plumbing business, but you don't do very well at following the rules with your outlaw motorcycle gang. And what this is, and I want everybody to see it clearly, federal policy drives illegal immigrant crime and victimization. And that's the focus, other than our victims of human trafficking. Listen, folks, I want to introduce you to Andres Gill, okay? Here's this guy. He's also on this board, but get a look at him for a second. He came down here from New York with 3 females. All of them are in the country illegally. Did you hear what I said? They're all here illegally. He's the one that comes with them to drive them. These ladies are all controlled by a human trafficker. We think their human trafficker is a female. She sets up their appointments, she puts their ads online, she tells them where to go. And by the way, on Friday, the victims of human trafficking, and we've graded them out, 3 of them that are here illegally from Venezuela, 3 of them have to pay her $3,000 a piece on Friday, or else they're threatened.
And there you have it, okay? I was going to sit and talk a little bit in between each story, but I felt like that was going to make the video much longer than it needed to be. So I just said I'll come on at the end and give a little bit of commentary, a little conclusion, a little summary. Moral of the story: do not buy sex in Central Florida, specifically Polk County, okay? Sheriff Grady Judd will be waiting for you. You hear all these guys, they were going for the quick visits and they were going for the $150 hookup. And when they got there, Sheriff Grady Judd was waiting on them with the cuffs, all right? Central Florida is not the place to buy sex. And this is a word to the wise for anyone that is coming to Florida that has that idea. If you're going to Central Florida, let it be for Disney, for the parks, okay? To maybe visit Clearwater Beach or something like that. If you want to go to Ybor City in Tampa, don't look for prostitutes, all right? I don't recommend buying sex at all, but if you are gonna come down to Florida to pay for sex, you need to bypass Central Florida, come all the way down to South Florida. It's much safer, and they do things down here also. Don't get me wrong, it's not like it's completely safe down here. After all, it's not legal. But you will not be blasted on social media by Sheriff Grady Judd. My personal opinion, I'll go ahead and give it, not that it means anything, but I do feel like 2 consenting adults should be able to engage in this kind of activity if they so choose to do. If both people are adults, and if one person decides they want to make money off of their body and another person decides they want to pay to use someone's body, hey, that's on them in my opinion. But hey, my opinion is not the law. My opinion really means nothing. And my opinion can't save you when you go for that quick visit and you meet Sheriff Grady Judd, okay? So word to the wise once again for anyone that thinks that they are gonna come down to Florida spending money on sex, come all the way past Central Florida to South Florida. I don't know much about the North. One thing I can tell you about North Florida is you're probably gonna find the least attractive people in North Florida. No disrespect to anybody in North Florida, but that's a well-known fact. The most beautiful people in Florida are in South Florida and then in Central Florida. But Central Florida is not safe, okay? Anybody can get it. I remember watching one of these and there was a judge. He came from like Illinois or Wisconsin, something like that. He was some kind of family court judge, and he came down for whatever reason. Thought he was gonna have a little fun time with a girl, spending some money. Ran into Sheriff Grady Judd, and Sheriff Grady Judd did not spare him. Put him on the plate, put him on social media for everybody to see. You see here, they got one of their old officers. They got quite a few people from the Air Force. They got a teacher. No one is safe. Anybody can end up on Sheriff Grady Judd's plate. I'm telling you. So to be safe, I always tell us at the end of the videos, we got to stay safe. If you want to stay safe, what do you got to do? You have to not spend your money for sex in it at all. Let me say that, at all. But if you're gonna do it, you cannot do it down in Central Florida, specifically Polk County. All right. And once again, I'm going to end it right there. I appreciate everyone for coming back to my channel, listening to my videos. As always, just want to give a little commentary on that. It is pretty funny if you go back and you watch some of his other news reports where he just goes over different people that he catches in these stings. So go ahead and Google him, have at it, look him up on YouTube. It's pretty entertaining, but that's just my 2 cents. Thanks again. As always, we got to stay safe. We got to stay up out of Sheriff Grady Judd's prostitution sting so that we can stay free.